Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into something that, let's be honest, drives pretty much every trader crazy at some point. That frustrating gap between having a great strategy on paper and the actual results you see in your account.
So let's just start with the question you've probably asked yourself a million times. You've put in the hours, you've done the backtesting, you've built a solid plan. It should be working. But when you look at your P&L, the results just aren't there. Why? What is going on?
Well, here's the thing. This isn't just bad luck. It's not a fluke. It is a specific, identifiable problem. And you know what? Once you can actually put a name to something, you can start to fix it. So, let's get into it.
All right, so this problem, this space between what your strategy could be doing and what it's actually doing in the real world, has a name. It's called the performance discrepancy. And just getting your head around this concept is the absolute first step to closing that gap for good. So what does that really mean? It's simple. We're talking about the very real, measurable difference between what your strategy looks like on paper, in your backtests, and what actually happens when you're the one in the hot seat, clicking the buttons with real money on the line. And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? That tall bar on the left, that's your strategy's potential. That's the dream, right? And the shorter bar on the right, well, that's your reality. And that big, empty space in the middle, that's the performance discrepancy. That is literally where your profits are just disappearing. So when we dig into why this gap even exists, it really boils down to two main bad guys, two culprits. On one side, you have this psychological saboteur. That's the battle going on inside your own head. And on the other, you have the unwritten rulebook. And that's all about the things you haven't clearly defined. Okay, let's zoom in on that first one, the psychological saboteur. Because honestly, this is often the biggest and, frankly, the sneakiest enemy of any good trading plan. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. I mean, how true is that? The source material is super clear here. These psychological hangups are a huge cause of the performance discrepancy. It's that fear of missing out, that greed that makes you hold on way too long, or that sheer panic that makes you sell at the worst possible moment. You have a perfect plan, and then your own brain just throws it right out the window. Now for culprit number two. This one is less about what you're feeling and more about your process, or, more accurately, the lack of one. This is the danger of having an unwritten rulebook. In a perfect world, trading should be a pretty straightforward process, kind of like this. You devise a strategy, you execute consistently, and in between, you build this bridge of rock-solid mechanical rules that tells you exactly what to do in every situation. But for so many traders, this is what it actually looks like. You've got the great strategy, and you want those consistent results, but that middle step is just a big old question mark. You haven't decided exactly when to get in, exactly when to get out, and without those hard and fast mechanical rules, the whole system just breaks down. You're left relying on gut feelings, and that just swings the door wide open for that psychological saboteur we were just talking about. Okay, so we've put a name to the problem, and we've identified the two main culprits. So the big question is, how do we actually fix this? How do we build that bridge and finally close the gap between potential and reality? Well, the good news is the solution is all about tackling those two things head on. Really, it's a two-pronged attack. It's an inside job and an outside job. First, the inside job. You have to work on mastering your psychology. Keep a journal, identify your emotional triggers. Then, the outside job. You build a fortress of rules around your strategy. A literal checklist for every single trade. Your entry, your exit, your stop loss, all defined before you ever risk a penny. No exceptions. So we'll end by turning the question back to you. And I want you to really think about this. This isn't just some abstract theory. This is about your bottom line and the results your hard work actually deserves. So take a good, hard look at your own trading. What is your performance discrepancy costing you? And what's the first step you're going to take to start closing that gap for good?